7 years ago this month, Macon was shaken by the gruesome murder of a Mercer Law School graduate. A 27-year-old Lauren Giddings was killed by her classmate and neighbor. Tonight, Dateline NBC revisits the case. 41 NBC's Edna Ruiz spoke with Keith Morrison about tonight's Dateline special called The Watcher.
Keith Morrison is joining us from Los Angeles, California. Keith, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is a story. Tonight, you are covering a story that sticks with a lot of people here in Middle Georgia, a lot of people here in Macon. Why did you decide to tell Lauren Giddings' story?
Well, it's a pretty remarkable story, and frankly, when we looked at it and thought, wait a minute, we hadn't had a chance to tell that story before, but it resonates in so many different ways. This strong, remarkable family, the people involved in getting it from one end to the other, the law enforcement officers who had to struggle with this, and the town, the city itself. It seemed to have an effect on so many people. And of course, you know, anybody in Macon who remembers the story knows that there are some pretty shocking and dark elements in this one. But in addition to that, the man who was convicted has appealed, and you know, he's claiming he had ineffective assistance of counsel, and so that's a question that really matters to a lot of people, I think, and they're keeping an eye on it for that reason, and we thought this was a good time to tell that story.
Have you gotten a chance to get in contact with Stephen McDaniel, the killer, or, you know, or have you gotten in touch with anybody in the family? Well,
yes, and Stephen is following his own, beating his own drum. Let's put it that way. Spoke to his lawyers and have certainly spoken to Lauren Giddings' family and friends, and in a way that we're able to kind of live inside the story of what was going on.
Yeah, well, what was one thing, you know, that stuck out to you when covering this, when you were here in Macon, talking to all these different people? What was something that definitely sticks out to you about this story?
You know, I tell you what, I was completely blown away by Macon. I hate to confess it, but I'd never been there before doing this story. And I thought, well, I thought I'd been just about in every town in America. But Macon is absolutely delightful, and forgive, I'm not blowing smoke here. It was a very nice place to be, and we enjoyed ourselves there. And I enjoyed meeting the you know, the ex-police chief and the reporters and the family. It was a good place to be.
Yeah. So to hear something like that happening here is a little bit out of the blue.
It certainly is, and it can, this sort of thing can happen anywhere. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard people in small towns or in the country say, well, things like that don't happen here, but you know, here is where things like that do happen.
It does. And lastly, before we let you go, what is one thing, you know, that a lot of people can look forward to? A lot of people here in Macon already know this story, but what's something, you know, they could look forward to in tonight's episode?
I think it's a fresh look at it, and some people now looking back at it with the benefit of hindsight are able to understand it in a way that maybe they didn't before, or add some value to it that I think you might find pretty interesting. And to be able to see it in one place and told that way, I think people will be interested in it.
All right, well, thank you so much. We look forward to that. That'll air tonight at 10 right here on 41 NBC. Thank you, Keith.
It will. Thank you.
Well, tonight on the news at 11, following the Dateline NBC special, we'll take a closer look into the case and where McDaniel is today.